Hey guys, want to show your support to the channel and get some awesome rewards at the same time? Then go check out my Patreon page where at whatever tier you choose that fits your budget, you'll get plenty of rewards such as updates and announcements on the regular, exclusive sneak peeks of my videos before they go up online, get yourself credited, and receive a special shout out at the end of my videos and more. Go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427's to start pledging today. And don't forget to also check out and consider gifting me any items I have listed on my Amazon wishlist and even supporting me on my Streamlabs tipping page that'll also help support the channel directly. Links are in the description box below as well as on my link tree for you to check out. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Take care. Hey guys, like what we do on our channel and want to see more videos from us? Then not to worry about a thing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as turning on the notification bell so that way you can see more of our videos coming up very soon. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and well, this is it, guys. This is finally it. Yeah, I guess if you couldn't tell right now for sure, we're nearing the end of 2025 as of now, and yeah. Yeah, I guess it's safe to say that we did have pretty much a wild ride this year for sure, especially with, of course, the movies we've actually seen for this year, but we're not done just yet. Oh, no, we're nowhere near done with this year as of now because, well, obviously enough, I only have one more movie for me to review for this year before this year, and just one more, So yeah, I'm guessing it is actually quite fitting by far, and I did promise this, and of course, the last thoughts video that I did some time ago for sure, and yeah, I think it's about time that I fulfilled that said promise hands down for sure, so yeah, and well, I guess pretty much of anything, I know a lot of you guys are wondering, what am I going to be talking about to wrap up all the films I'll see for 2025 this year? Well, let's really look back on pretty much on what we started off with for this year to pretty much where we are right now for sure. So yeah. So I guess pretty much of anything, the question is, what did I start this year off of for sure? Well, surprisingly enough, we actually did start off this year with, of course, a horror flick hands down. So, what will be a really great way to end this year? Why, by obviously a horror flick hands down. So, yeah, looks like we're finally coming full circle for once for sure. And yeah, I guess pretty much of anything. Since we actually did start off this year with, of course, a horror flick, I think we might as well end this year with, of course, another horror flick, hands down. So yeah, I guess it's what I can say, of course, that front. But unlike this year, where, of course, we started off with, of course, the Wolfman remake for sure, looks like we're delving into another horror flick. But surprisingly enough, it is, of course, on another remake of another horror movie that came out years ago for sure. But there is one specific difference from what I can gather. Where, of course, when I started off this year with Wolfman, where, of course, we had like a guy turning into the Wolfman. This one we're going to be talking about here today actually involves a giant killer snake. Yeah, I think it's what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, we're ending this year with, of course, a horror flick that is indeed a remake that is based around a horror flick about a giant killer snake for sure. So yeah, And if you couldn't tell based on, of course, what I've actually mentioned for sure, I think that will give you the idea, of course, what I'm going to be talking about for today's thoughts video. But in case you're actually quite curious, I think we might as well get ourselves settled in for one hell of a giant killer snake for us to take on with, of course, today's movie we're going to be talking about here today, which is none other than Anaconda. So yeah, that is of course what I'm going to be talking about here today. Not only is this the latest film that just came out not too long ago, but it's also, surprisingly enough, not just pretty much a remake, hands down, but surprisingly enough, it's a mega remake of course, the pretty much the horror flick from back in the 90s that is also entitled, well, Anaconda. So yeah. It's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well, I guess before I could go ahead and talk about this latest movie, I think it makes sense for me to talk about the original Anaconda for sure, So yeah, I guess surprisingly enough, the horror flick from 1997 has actually been around for quite a long time now for sure, and if you guys want to know my initial thoughts on, of course, that Sega movie, well, surprisingly enough, I will say this right now, I actually thought the original Anaconda movie from 1997, surprisingly enough to me, is not that good. But wait, hey, put those pitchforks down. Get away from the angry, get away from the comment box where, of course, you'll pretty much give me all sorts of angry comments and stuff. Give it to what I've actually said. Let me explain. So yeah, obviously enough, give it to what I actually said. I knew I was pretty much, I am kind of expecting that I would get some angry comments from people for sure, but yeah, what I said is actually quite true. I actually thought the original Anaconda movie is not that good, in my opinion, so yeah. But don't get me wrong, I think the idea of a horror flick about a giant killer snake, hands down, I really do think is actually a really clever idea for sure. In fact, if anything, it is actually one of many ideas that you can actually do right if you actually want to make a really clever horror movie that stars animals for sure. And yeah. And I don't mean like stuff like, say, psycho killers or anything in particular that we normally see in horror flicks, hands down. But usually I think horror flicks centering around the animals, hands down, they're bound to kill and or eat you, hands down, for sure. I really do think it's actually pretty much quite clever. And for the case of Anaconda, I really do think it is actually really quite a clever idea for sure about pretty much just a regular old horror flick about a giant killer snake for sure. So yeah, and for while that is the case, turns out the end result of course, that said film, to me at least, I really don't think is actually that good for sure. Yeah, pretty much of anything, it does suffer, yeah, aside from, of course, pretty much a really nice idea that they actually decide to go for. The film itself actually does have pretty much a very weak story, uninteresting characters, and of course, pretty much most of the actors really, yeah, for while I can't give them credit for at least trying to give their all, given to the material they were given. I really don't think they gave off some interesting performances that really grabbed me by far, with, of course, yeah, obviously Jennifer Lopez actually pretty much giving off her performance as a nice little warm-up before being in Geely with Ben Affleck, and Ice Cube actually trying his best to pretty much be good at acting, but still has pretty much that angry tone that he gives, and of course that's a performance for sure, which did work in Boys in the Hood, but not as much here for sure. I mean, hey, what did you expect? I think it was at a time where, of course, he's making a name of himself after he left NWA for sure. And of course, let's not forget to mention Owen Wilson being, well, Owen Wilson for sure, and probably the biggest culprit of them all is, of course, Jon Voight pretty much hamming it up and going all method actor-ish, and, of course, his performance hands down. Sounds like pretty much of anything, pretty much that same tactic that he used to win his Razzie Awards for one, so yeah. And let's not forget to mention for the pretty much for the visuals and the effects. For all I think there are a good number of areas where it actually does work quite well. Yeah, pretty much of anything. Most of the others I just really don't think blending in very well, and the CGI is not really that good for sure. So yeah, I guess it is safe to say that if you were to ask me about the original Anaconda, yeah, my point still stands. I really don't think it's that good by any stretch of the imagination, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So, give it to all that, and for those who are wondering, I'm not even going to bother with, of course, the sequels, nor even the crossover that they did with the crocodile from Lake Placid. That's a whole other story for now, at least, so yeah. But I guess given to all that, when I heard the news that they're going to be doing a remake of course, pretty much that said movie, I'll be honest, I really am not really that excited to actually see it for sure, especially with, of course, what I've actually seen in the trailers beforehand for sure, so yeah, but I still want to give it a fair shot anyways, and see on how it'll go from here for sure, so of course, if anything, I mean, hey, I need to do something to wrap up this year in terms of a movie, so yeah, but at the very least, I did manage to get myself in just in the nick of time to actually go and see this movie for myself, all thanks to the kind people at Crown City Cinemas as always, and well, now that I've officially got back from, of course, seeing it, I guess a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this movie now that I finally got the chance to see it? Well, surprisingly enough, I think I will put pretty much this pretty much in layman's terms, so yeah, I think pretty much of anything on it, so I think it's mediocre from what I've actually seen, and it's kind of a movie for sure. But compared to, of course, the original Anaconda, you are going to be quite surprised to hear this, but I actually do think this movie actually is a little better than the original. Not by much, but only a little, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So, given to all that, I think it would pretty much sum up on what I thought of this movie in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well, now that I've officially got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about for sure. For starters is, of course, the story, and well, I guess from what I can gather, I do think it is fine for what it is, from what I can gather. I think they really wanted to go for a little something that's mega hands down, hence why I think they wanted to make this as like a mega remake of the original for sure, and I think a good number of areas from what I've actually seen, I really do like what they were actually going for hands down, as some parts of it actually do work from what I can gather, and I really do find myself hooked on with what I'm actually seeing for sure. But at the same time, though, I do felt pretty much with what they're trying to do, I just find it a little bit too obnoxious from what I've actually seen, and yeah, I guess pretty much for what it is, maybe I think they could have done a whole lot better from what I've actually seen to really try to make this work from what I can gather, but at the very least, I think pretty much with what I actually said about the story for this movie, I think think it will get you the idea on what I'm talking about. So, yeah, but that's at least what I can say for the story for, of course, this movie. Now, as for the writing, I have to say, well, I will say that too alone is done. Yeah, I think I will have to say it is crafted kind of a little up and down for sure, as I do felt some parts in this movie were written out quite well for sure, but other times I just kind of felt they could have used a little reworking or maybe another draft for sure that they could have actually submitted in to really make this actually all the more gripping and amazing for sure, but at the very least, I think from what I'm actually seeing, I do like some parts that they decide to go for, but other times it just kind of felt were pretty much a little bit too hammed up for sure, so yeah. And of course, for the comedy, I have to say, well, to be fair, I think you can incorporate comedy into a horror flick, hands down, for sure. In fact, I've seen plenty of horror flicks that actually did that very well, for sure. But I guess aside from a few, pretty much a few jokes that did get a little chuckle out of me, yeah, most of the time I do felt the film's comedy, the film's comedy, I have to say, it's kind of a little bit off from what I can gather, and I did find myself getting a good laugh out of course, that said movie for sure. Like I said, only a little chuckle every once in a while, but that's it beyond that for sure, so yeah, I guess give it to what I've actually mentioned. I think it will get you the idea, of course, what I thought of those aspects in a nutshell for sure, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Okay, I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty then, well, now that I've officially got those out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next few things I need to talk about for sure, to which next up is, of course, the characters and... well, I guess to be fair, I don't find them as bad characters for sure. In fact, some of them are actually given some pretty decent development from what I've actually seen by far for sure. And I will give them credit for at least pretty much giving their all to actually make them likable and interesting, and kind of actually wanted to root for them for sure. And yeah. I think it's what I can say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, maybe they could have done a little bit more with the characters for sure, but at the very least, I think it's what I could say on that front for sure. But I do think they're fine nonetheless. There's nothing wrong with them, hands down for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Now, as for the actors that came aboard to play all these characters, well, surprisingly enough, I think to give them credit, I really do think the actors in this film actually did give off some pretty decent performances, in my opinion, that for while I don't think is actually 100% all the way, I really do think is still nicely done, especially given to the material that's given to them, hands down, and I'll even say this, that I will admit, hands down, that I really do think both Jack Black and Paul Rudd are a couple of decent standouts in, of course, this movie, and I really do like on what they have to throw into the table to really try to make this movie work for sure, and I do applaud them for giving it their all, hands down, so yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front, so yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say for those two aspects in a nutshell. Yeah, they could have done a whole lot more to the characters to actually make them interesting, but I will give the film credit that they actually did give off, that they let the actors give off some pretty decent performances that I do think actually does work quite well for sure, so yeah. It's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alrighty then, well, now that I've officially got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about? Well, quite a whole lot, actually, so yeah, I guess pretty much next up is, well, much like every other horror flick that we've actually talked about, I think we might as well talk about the most important aspects when it comes to a horror movie, and that being, of course, the tone and atmosphere for sure, and yeah, honestly, to me, pretty much for what it is, the tone and atmosphere, and of course, this movie is kind of on again, off again from what I can gather for sure, to which it pretty much goes from, of course, being lighthearted and upbeat to of course a little bit more dark and atmospheric at the same time, to which is not a bad idea for sure. Again, I've seen plenty of other horror flicks actually try those methods for sure that did work a whole lot better, so yeah, but from what I've actually seen by far, I think I really do like what they've actually gone for in some areas, but other times I just kind of felt they could have done a whole lot more to really pretty much make it a little bit more scary, hands down for sure, and maybe do some stuff that would have been a little bit more funny, hence why I've mentioned the comedy earlier in this video, So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, on that front for sure, so yeah. I think it's what I could say in that matter, hands down, so yeah. And of course, for the production design for, of course, this movie, well, surprisingly enough, I will admit this, I really do love the really nice production design they actually did for, of course, this movie for sure, as I really do think they really did a bang-up job to really make this movie look good for sure, and they actually did accomplish that quite well for sure, with, of course, some really nice locations they've scouted out to really make it look like the characters are, of course, in pretty much the jungle, hands down, running away from, of course, the giant killer Anaconda for sure, to even some nice set pieces that they actually put together that really helped blend in with, of course, the film's surroundings for sure, So yeah, I really do love what they've actually gone for the sake of this movie for sure, and I really do think they really did a bang-up job with, of course, what they have to throw into the table for sure, so yeah. I guess at the very least, pretty much of anything, the production design, of course, of this movie is actually very nicely done, hands down. I really do love what they have to throw into the table, of course, this one. And not to mention the visuals and the effects, and of course, this movie for sure. I will strangely admit, I actually do think it is actually quite good for sure, and even the CGI, I have to say, is actually not that bad for sure, but then again, some parts of it do kind of felt a little bit too off-putting, let alone doesn't blend in very well, but most of the time, it is actually convincing for sure, and I will give them credit for at least trying to make the Anaconda actually look realistic for sure, like it's really slithering in pretty much through the water and in the bushes, hands down, waiting to, of course, come out and go blah! So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front, hands down. So yeah, maybe they could have reworked it a little better from what I've seen in some aspects for sure, but a few others from what I can gather, I really do think is actually quite good for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Now, as for the direction in this film from the film's director, well, I think I will say it's fine from what I can gather. I just kind of felt there could have been a whole lot more effort being put into this one to really try to make this one good for sure, let alone make this one work for what it is, but I can't say it's awful by all means. Yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, and of course the cinematography in this film, well, that too alone is actually done pretty good, hands down, for sure, as I really do love some really good camera shots they actually decide to throw in, for sure, to really make this movie look good, hands down, and they actually did accomplish that quite well, at least in my opinion, for sure. So yeah, and of course the editing, I have to say, well, it's kind of fine from what I could gather, as I do felt some pretty much parts of editing do work quite well, but other times I just kind of felt some other ones I just kind of thought were way too fast from what I could gather, and they could have been a whole lot better from what I've actually seen, for sure, but yeah, at least that's what I can say, of course, on that front, for sure, and given to what I've actually mentioned, I cannot forget about the film's pacing, for sure, to which, yeah, that too alone is also a little on again, off again, from what I can gather, as I do felt some parts in this film are pacing quite well, for sure, but other times I just kind of felt it was a little bit too fast from what I've actually seen, and they could have done some stuff to really try to slow things down, for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess given to what I've actually mentioned, hands down, I think that will get you the idea on why I actually thought of this movie in a nutshell, for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, overall, Anaconda, pretty much of anything, may not be pretty much a great movie for what it is, but I really can't say it's terrible, for sure. Yeah, I do think it's actually a very mediocre to yet decent enough pretty much horror movie on its own, for sure, but I guess in comparison to the original, hands down, I really do think this remake is a little better than the original, for sure. So yeah, I think with what I've actually seen, sure, I think there are some parts in it that I just kind of felt don't work in the slightest, and they could have actually done some things to really try to make this great, for sure. But I do admire some of the good stuff that they actually decide to throw in, for sure. That is guaranteed to give me a good time, hands down, and if while it doesn't land exactly on the spot, for sure, I'm still giving credit for still giving it their all, for sure. So yeah, I guess pretty much of anything. I know there's nothing wrong with, of course, letting this movie be mega, for sure. In fact, if anything, it really wanted to try to see if it can actually be as strong as, of course, the original, for sure. To which, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, hands down. And if you want to go mega, that's fine, for sure. But I think with a few problems from what I've actually spotted here and there, for sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being mega, hands down, but if you really wanted to go all out, I think they could have also done it in a much more fun, self-aware way, for sure, to which, yeah, if that's the direction they should have gone for, I think this movie would have been a whole lot more stronger, hands down, for sure. But yeah, I think it's what I can say, of course, that front, for sure. So yeah, like I said, I don't think this movie is bad, nor even terrible, for sure. It's kind of at best, for sure, but of course, if anything, did it actually give me a good time, regardless? Well, yeah, only a little, for sure, so yeah, I can't be necessarily angry at this film for what it is, for sure, but I guess for what it is, I do think this is a harmless one to check out, for sure. So yeah, I guess pretty much of anything, if that's something that you can actually pretty much get through just fine, I say this movie is actually a pretty decent one to check out, for sure. You probably won't get pretty much in some aspects for sure, but you will be quite surprised in a few others as well that could really pretty much get you in on the long run for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, if that's something you're actually looking into, then yeah, no harm done, of course, checking this one out for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, if that's something you're looking into, then, well, pretty much hop in your boat and pretty much make your way through the jungle to fight off a killer snake to actually, well, see this movie for yourself. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, for my final score, yeah, I guess if anything, I'm gonna give Anaconda a 5.5 out of 10 for sure. Like I said, I can't say it's great, nor even terrible as well, as I do felt it's kind of more of a movie for what it is. But I will give pretty much this remake credit that I actually do think it is a little better than the original for sure. Not by much, but only a little hands down. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So if that's something you're actually looking into, then yeah, I say this movie is actually well worth checking out for sure if you got the time. So yeah, at least that's what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I may not care for it in its entirety, but I definitely do think it is a little better than the original. So yeah. Alrighty then, well, I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this movie as a whole. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, I want to ask all of you guys, what do you think of Anaconda? If you've actually seen it for yourself, do you absolutely really enjoy it and think it's actually on par with the original for sure, or do you absolutely hate it and think it's actually much worse than the original for sure? Or are you like me and you're somewhere in between, of course, this film for sure? So yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie down in the comments down below. I would love to know on what you guys think. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, I guess on that thought alone, we're done. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we have finally gone through every single movie that's released during 2025 this year, and well, I guess for what it is, I guess this movie is actually a pretty decent one to close this year off for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. I only got pretty much a couple of pretty much a list to put together pretty much in tie-ins with, of course, the movies I've seen this year for sure, and I guess afterwards we'll see what 2026 will have to offer for sure. So yeah, this year was, of course, a massive up and down ride in terms of movies for sure. So let's hope 2026 will be a really good year for movies that'll be coming up for sure. Because let me tell you, I'm sure there's a lot of good ones out there just waiting to be released for sure. So I'll be quite curious to see on what we'll actually get for sure. So yeah, but that's at least what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess right up until my list pretty much will come around before the end of this month. All I can say for now is thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427TV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, Ackleyattack4427's@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and plenty more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/Ackleyattack4/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.